Okay. Okay.
All right.
Cool. I mean, let's wing it. No test record.
All right. Fine then. Let's start.
Okay. Cool. All good. All good. Sunday. There's no long weekend for you guys, right?
No.
No, no, nothing coinciding. Okay. Cool. We do have tomorrow holiday, so
And day after
it's
also, right?
it's.
Tuesday is also holiday. My cousin told me.
Is it Muharram? Is it Muharram? No, it's not. I don't know. It was Rakhi on Friday.
Okay.
So or Thursday or Friday. So some of the companies and some organizations had a holiday.
Acha, acha.
So it kind of, I mean, I didn't like, I didn't even know that it was Rakhi or like a holiday. Tuesday, I'm not sure,
Okay.
but it was after a long time. Usually I mean, school law, they used to say that after, because schools used to start in June, right?
Hmm.
And August 15th used to be technically the first holiday.
Yeah, right. Correct.
Right, so there's usually no like festivals in July because Ashada Masam, and usually it's like Varalakshmi Vratam or this
So
weekend.
that we
So
never got
this
holiday.
weekend is
Nobody
usually,
got a holiday for that. Yeah.
yeah, it's only used to be like the girls and guys used to be had to be in school.
Correct.
Yeah. Inka, what's happening? A new book coming out. When's it coming out?
Yeah, I was
Anytime
planning on
soon?
bringing it out on my birthday in November, but looks like it's going to take time. This time I'm trying
Wow, but
something new, so that idea itself is going to take time because I write the script version first, then convert to a book usually.
right.
But last two books I wrote the books first. This time the idea is so exciting that I want to write the script first, but I also don't want to uh, miss out on the book part. So I'm doing both together.
Okay. So the process as well as the idea
Yeah,
both are
everything
new this
it's
time.
all here. I just have to write it. And you just need
But you do.
I just need a
Sorry,
3 day
go on.
early waking up streak, then I can get going.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah,
Wow. So you have those things like mapped out, how to get into the zone without hitting a block.
yeah, and see, writing for script is different because writing a script is different because you write in scenes. If you have 42,
Hmm.
43 good scenes, you have a film. So it's like that. This
Right.
is going to go
Yeah.
longer. So I'm just thinking what to do. Once I finalize on that, I'll start writing.
Okay.
Yeah, I already started, but then I
But you
lost
did.
track.
You did have some like Love Takes No Prisoners that released in the summer,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah. It released in May.
Yeah.
Love Takes No Prisoners. It's a very unique kind of a love story, which
Hmm.
is not acceptable to the society as such.
How's the response been?
Response has been lukewarm, but whoever has read it, they've loved it. I got like 4.8
Okay.
rating out of 5 so far, like 4.8 or
On
5
Goodreads.
on Goodreads and on Amazon. Amazon also has like 12
Okay.
ratings, all 5 star, not even a single 4 star, all 5 star.
Wow. I do look forward to reading it soon. I have it on my because I didn't know I was not following that it released. I saw the poster that you had tweeted
Yeah,
a few months ago. I thought it's more of a promo that you're doing. I didn't know it was out, and you told me last month the book's already out.
yeah, it is.
I said like I wanted to actually read it before we speak,
See,
but
yeah, I want
couldn't.
to say something about the question you asked. How's the response been, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is
Mm-hmm.
a very tricky question because how is the response? If I say good, it's not good enough. If I say because not many people
Right.
have read it. See, everybody knows that
Mm-hmm.
I write. Many people in my circle know,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not famous, right? Like people who have like thousands of say,
Yeah, they don't like hold their breath that this book is coming
I'm
out.
not
They
that
don't
way.
like no
So
first
actually, no first day kind of a frenzy.
for
Actually,
sure.
uh, I'll tell you one small incident. When I visited someone like 3 or 4 years ago,
Hmm.
their kid, like they're 16, they asked me,
Hmm.
the guy He asked me, my dad told me you're a writer. I said, yes. He asked, are you famous? Then
Wow.
I said, do you know me? And he said, no. Then the answer is simple. I'm not famous.
Yeah, you answered
So
it yourself.
yeah, that's how it has been. I mean, people read, few people read,
Mhm.
and then we wait for it to take off. That's how it is.
Yeah, but does it really matter? Because I mean, I did want to say that you do churn out books like pretty quick,
Yeah.
right? So I mean, like looking at it from an outsider point of view, you have like usually all the big writers, they take like 3-4 years, like
Hmm.
for a book to come out, right? And you're doing it like in months time. Like I mean, I'm just like commenting it off the cuff, but like the frequency of releases I've seen, it's more higher than what usually is from a writer.
It
Like how,
totally
how many books
depends
they do bring
on
out.
what. It depends on mood actually, nothing else. In
Hmm.
2018, I released one book. 2017, I had one. 2016, I had one. So 16, 17, 18, every year I had a book. But 19, 20, 21,
Right.
I had nothing, like 3 year break. 21, I had
Hmm.
Rogue, but before that, there was like a 3 year gap uh,
Right.
for no reason. I had stories. I just didn't write them. That's all.
Okay.
For some reason, I did not write. It's in
Ah.
the mind. I don't know why. And sometimes you just sit and keep writing and writing and writing and see the book is out. So it's
Ah.
an unpredictable. I am unpredictable to myself basically. Yeah, and
No, good, but then you still have that process of like when you want to write, when there is a story, you have to wake up 3 days in a row,
yeah, and so if I
and
wake up
for it
three
to
days in
start
a row
flowing.
at my set time, 4:45 is my hour. I wake up at 4:45. If I do that for 3 days,
Wow.
then it becomes like a habit, and then the book finishes. And after the book finishes, I again sleep till 7. So that it's like that.
Okay.
Multiple attempts you have to make at getting into that streak. Yeah, that's how
Cool.
it
I
is.
mean, this is I think a lot of like I've been into writing workshops, and when you talk about writing and screenplay writing, or like whether it is novel writing, usually most of the conversations are about like plot and character and story, like how to develop. But you look at what the big authors, like the all the the famous ones, they talk about more of the process. Like for them it's nothing about like what's the craft, or like I mean, there is conversation, but more a lot of it is in the method or the process of how you approach it, right? Like just because once that's taken care of, I think the work, I think it was Stephen King who says, like just sit in front of the typewriter and every day, and it just
Yes,
flows.
yes, that is
So
correct. Actually, you just have to sit there, go and sit at, show
yeah.
up. Showing up is half the job actually. If you don't go and sit on the
Right.
desk, nothing is
Yeah.
going to happen on its own.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is, I mean, love takes no prisoners. I've been following some of your, like most of the works before My Grandpa's a Gangster. Um, so you were like dwelling in the sci-fi realm.
Yeah,
How come like suddenly switched, and Grandpa's a Gangster was more of a gangster story? I think that's something that you
yeah.
wanted
It
to
is my
like play with
mafia,
that
mafia
genre,
and crime are my most favorite genre. Like
right?
there is
Right. And then how did you get into like a love story with this one?
actually this love story is also it originates in the mafia. So there is a guy who is
Okay.
an accountant for a very rich and powerful
A
mafia
mob.
family. Okay, this guy is an accountant,
Right.
and his parents they had moved to France a long time ago. And when his
Hmm.
father dies and his mother leaves him, he finds a job with a mafia family, and he becomes their most loyal accountant and money manager. See, mafias
Conciliary.
don't have accountants as such. They don't. They have people who take care of the
Hmm.
cash. They're called money managers. So he
Right.
becomes that, and then suddenly there is an attack on that family, and his boss, the Don, asks him to go into hiding for 100 days. So he randomly
Hmm.
picks up the first flight he catches in Macau, and he changes three other countries and lands in Hyderabad. and he goes to Kachiguda and rents a hotel and starts living there. Okay. On the second or third day, he goes out for lunch and he notices a woman sitting in the restaurant. Okay. He sees that she's an extremely beautiful woman in her 40s. He's also in 40s. He's like almost 50. And that woman is so beautiful, he's mesmerized by her completely. But the thing is, she also has a 20-year-old daughter with her. Now, this guy
Okay.
falls for that older woman because he's in his age group, but for others, she's kind of older, right? I mean, when you talk about love stories,
Hmm.
people think about a 19-year-old girl and 24-year-old guy who is chasing his dreams,
Yeah.
and that's all cliched bullshit. I don't like writing the love story.
Yeah.
Writing the love story is the easiest thing in the world. Okay, that's why.
That's all filmy. That's all Indian
Yeah,
filmy, right? Like, which is why even like a 60-year-old guy wants to play a 24-year-old
it's very easy
guy,
to write a love
because you
story.
cannot think about a
Correct,
different.
correct. So I didn't want
Yeah.
to go that route. So there is a guy who is actually in hiding. He's very disciplined and very capable, very resourceful, and could be very dangerous. Then suddenly in a foreign country, he finds a woman and likes her and suddenly falls in love with her. So what happens?
This guy is not even
He
Indian.
is Indian,
He's
but
French
he's
guy.
like born in
Okay.
India. His name is Vikram.
Born and
Yeah,
raised.
and he's
Ah.
to look at he's Indian, but anything else is not Indian. So this guy suddenly, I mean, he says,
Okay.
"I want this woman." Now, what will you do? Right? It's a way. That's why I called it an impossible love story. She's a married woman. She has a daughter.
Hmm.
She has that tilak, bindi, and all that sindoor.
Sindoor.
And what will you do?
Yeah.
How will he make her his? And he's a very objective person. He has remained single just to take care
Yeah.
of his
He's a
money.
he's
Yeah,
a numbers
obviously,
guy.
he's a numbers guy and very
Yeah.
dangerous. He can make one call and do anything he wants. That kind of a guy, but he wants that
Hmm.
woman. What will you do? So that is the premise of the story. It's an impossible love story. That's this idea had struck me one day, and then I thought, then we should make a love story out of this. That's how it came into existence.
Cool. Nice. You still do, I mean, apart from writing as well, like you have a web series coming out.
Yes,
When
the
is that
web
out?
series is in the final stages of what do you call negotiations at an OTT platform. They are,
Oh, so it's all
it
produced
is
and ready
ready.
to go.
Everything is ready.
Yeah.
Open
Edit and
Face
okay.
Media is the company that's produced it. Wrapped Candy Films and Open Face Media.
Hmm.
I created along with Pawan, and it's ready to hit. It's also sci-fi. It is sci-fi.
Oh
So
wow.
it's about alternate universes and
So you still have a conflict in whether crime is your favorite genre or
no,
like
crime
sci-fi.
is number
So
one.
maybe
I mean, even beats sci-fi actually. If
okay.
Christopher Nolan makes a
Ah,
crime movie, then I'm going to. I don't know what will happen to me. He made the Dark Knight and all,
yeah.
but
I mean, maybe when he gets
straightforward mafia movie.
Interstellar, like sorry, not Interstellar. Inception. Would you say it's a
No, it's
crime
still
movie?
sci-fi, right?
Um,
Still sci-fi. Real world mafia movie.
it's
Yes,
crime in
yes,
sci-fi world. Okay.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like that.
He's a thief. He's a robber. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I get
even
what you're
Tenet
saying.
is a
He's more
crime
like in
movie
the
that way. See,
Scorsese,
Tenet is also a crime movie.
right? Yeah.
But there are sci-fi
Yeah.
I mean,
But I don't think you can ask for more than that from Nolan, right? So you ask him to make a crime movie,
no,
that's
no, of
all
course,
he's
he
going to
is
make. He's
going
going
to
to
do
twist it
something.
around and
He'll say all this is a dream.
yeah, yeah. He's not going to give you a typical
No,
Scorsese
no.
crime movie,
Scorsese
like
is the undisputed
like
king
a
of mafia. He's the only filmmaker who has
yeah,
scored hits in 6 different decades. It's not a joke. And he's the only.
yeah. I mean, he's
He's
still
still rocking.
still
He
going
has
at it.
two big
Yeah.
films coming. So
Two, is it? I thought it was one.
Killers of the Flower Moon, right?
Which I have actually. Okay,
Flower
the
Moon, and
Flower
after
Moon I've
that there
heard.
is one more, which
Yeah.
is I say I thought
Wow.
I heard that that's also a mafia crime kind of a
How old is he now? He's like what, 87,
78,
88?
80, 80. I think he's over 80.
Uh, he's 80. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Eastwood is close to 90. Yeah.
Eastwood is 90 and is
This
booked
guy
for
is
the next
still.
5 years.
My God. I don't know. That's very weird. Like these guys keep going on at that age. Do you know any Indian filmmaker who's like probably Devanand was doing it at that age, but I don't think
Amitabh
anybody
Bachchan, hai na?
else.
There is Amitabh Bachchan who is been going strong. Kader Khan acted
I
until
mean,
well he was.
acting is still
Yeah,
easy. I mean, although that also takes a lot, but directing a film at that age, like Eastwood did, that whatever that last film, that Flower
yeah.
Guy, he was at Flower Guy, right? What was that?
The
Mule.
Mule, yes, the Mule.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So sorry. This is. Oh, I need to. This is first time, so
No,
I'm
that's
kind
all
of
right.
all over the place. My phone's ringing out of phone's ringing. Yeah. So I need to make sure that these things are sorted. So this is let me give you some context about podcasts, and this is something that I've been thinking for a long time, because I think one, as much as I'm on social media, on Twitter, it doesn't give me. I'm not like more of a expressive guy in terms of her writing it, like, because it's more like I think a lot spontaneously, and then when I start putting things in words, it kind of poof vanishes. It's like meh, like अरे कौन करेगा, like फालतू
या
में,
जो
like
जो भी
लोगों
मैं
को ट्रोल
कहना
करो.
चाहूँ बर्बाद
uh,
करे अल्फाज मेरे. रॉकस्टर.
okay. Rockstar. Yeah. So that never gets out, right? So it's kind of, Twitter is like, for me, I think Twitter and like naturally some of the other, like the Instagram and other social medias are more reactive in a sense, and I think that's how people also use it, like which is why you see like a lot of outrage machine going on, like man, like people just like having a go at each other. And for me, just like it takes too much to react to some random guy who's saying something on their timeline. Why to fine, like you could be whatever, whoever dickhead like you are on the internet, right? But then for me it's like sometimes it gets my goat, but then that's like, and then for me to proactively think and write about it, it just like it's mostly shit posting that happens
Yeah.
on Twitter. So, and a lot of important things, like we do want to talk about, people who we want to get a little deeper into conversations, or like have some sort of a idea exchange with somebody. It becomes very difficult in that. So, and last year Clubhouse was a great experience, to actually mingle with people. You were there.
Yes,
We
yes,
had
we had good
some
time there.
sessions. Yeah. So, and that kind of always kind of left something lingering, that audio and video is something that maybe is a good avenue to think and say fine, it's spontaneous, it's something like you have to, a lot of it is like out there. But in terms of what's actually happening, it cannot be captured into 80 characters, right? It's too difficult. And I do see a lot of content creators now, though pura dunya, it's all become about content
Yes.
creation. You go anywhere, that's
Content
all it is,
creation is
right?
now a branch of engineering.
So yeah, I'm sure all these Mallareddy College will have like one new
Yeah,
building
and 90%
which
of
will
it is crap
which will be
anyway. So,
teaching
but
all that.
anyway, still people are watching that.
Yeah. I'm sure, like right now, I've heard IIMs do like courses on Instagram marketing and
Oh,
all.
okay.
Like
Yeah,
there
definitely
are legit,
it is a
there is this legit.
formidable tool, or what would you call an avenue? Yep, it's a
Hmm.
very formidable force. You can't
Yeah,
ignore Instagram and Facebook. You can't.
yeah. I mean, when it came out, I remember like when I was doing masters, this whole Facebook was new. Like this was 2008, 7, 8, 9. So Facebook was like that it had just recently they had opened it for for the public. Until then, it was only for university addresses, right? So we were studying, like from an information systems point of view, social network, like was really new. And Twitter was also there, but most of the time everybody, like you ask people about Twitter, people used to be like, man, I don't get Twitter, like that's all it was, like that's, I used to hear that reaction from so many people. And it just like amazing how they have not just like social media networks, like not just social network from like connecting people and like poking messaging, they have become tools for business. Like
Yep.
it's just
Yeah.
like mind boggling for me to think like these are just like platforms for businesses now. And there is no business today which can operate without actually having these things figured out. Not just, it's not just like, okay, website bana liya, Google Pay reviews hai. It's not just that, right? Like, because now it's like that's the channel where you have to actually do your business in. Like, your business has to run through Instagram. Just
Yep.
crazy.
Totally.
I'm sure, like, these business schools and all, they have to. And something that's always, like, for me curious is, like, how would a old professor at an IIM or an IIT be teaching Instagram to millennials?
I know. They'll take a lot of time to learn themselves, actually. Even we took a lot of time to get.
Yeah.
And even now, I mean, Instagram, I took like 4-5 year break from Instagram and then came back to it. And then I realized that all the features are new. I mean, completely new. I didn't.
It just, like, I think, who was it, like, Chloe or Rihanna, who had a meltdown because they changed the interface of Instagram and they made it
Yeah,
more like TikTok
Reels.
a
They
month ago.
competing
Yeah.
with Reels.
Reels,
Correct.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. So it's just, yeah, that's also, like, it changes. But now, though, I'm like, fine, man, change it. Like, I don't care. Earlier, wo pehle thoda hota tha, right?
See,
You
and
used to
the
Twitter
cycle,
also, right?
the
You
cycle
get
for
used
this
to.
is Instagram or Twitter, or Facebook for that matter. They launch a new interface or a
Mhm.
new tool. People start using it and they start abusing it. Chattana kodka Indra idi bulke. They'll keep. They'll tag Mark Zuckerberg. Okay, they won't tag anyone else. Direct Zuckerberg. And anything happens in Twitter, they directly tag Parag Agarwal and ask, "What the fuck is this?" And
Oh,
then he
yeah,
has to explain to them. See, look at the sense of entitlement, man.
yeah, yeah,
And first they'll abuse, then they'll
yeah.
get
I
used to
mean,
it.
it's
It's
also,
like any new pain.
yeah. That's what, like, it's like, now, by now, people should have figured it out that no matter how much you abuse, they're not
No,
going to
they're
go back
not.
and change it just because,
Not
like,
at
you're
all.
complaining. Yeah, it's like, just, like, get used to it and move on. Like, they have
And
their
see,
own,
I don't
like,
understand the
reasons for changing.
entitlement behind all this. First of all, that's a free website. They are letting you use. Okay, it's not something you are paying for.
Yeah,
You didn't buy Twitter. You didn't buy your Twitter account. So whatever he has given,
yeah,
see, it's like beggars can't be choosers, right? Beggar can't come and ask for I want biryani only today. He can't say that, right? It's exactly like that. You have to be happy with whatever you're getting. What's the big
yeah,
deal about? Okay, some things may irritate you. It's okay, but feeling thinking that
yeah.
they owe you something is wrong.
Yeah, it's also like kind of that, that who moved my cheese kind of thing. Like, you're so used to it, and then you are unhappy for some random reason. It's like, oh, it's changed it. It's like, it's not supposed to change.
Yeah,
Why is it not supposed to change, dude? Like, get used to it. It's still there. It's still there. You are still not kicked out of the
yeah.
platform, like Mr. Trump or
All right,
somebody.
we are 23 minutes in, but I haven't
Um,
congratulated you. So congrats on your new podcast, this platform. I hope you record
ah,
1,000
thank you.
episodes at least on this.
Oh, thank you
So
so
good luck with
much.
that.
Yeah, that's so. This is, thank you. It's actually, that's the reason. I'll tell you why I thought, like, I wanted you to come on first and, like, have this. I have, like, zero experience in front of camera. Like, this, like, whole. I tried to do some YouTube recordings last year, getting bored of the pandemic and all. Just to do, when I saw Tenet, I think, I like full recorded, like, a review of Tenet.
Then what happened to it?
But then I was like, it's
No,
just
you
like
didn't
lying in my
upload it.
phone.
Okay, okay.
I never posted it. I never posted it. So the whole thing was that, because from a content creation point of view, for me, just to talk to a one person talking to a camera was, like, very, very weird. A lot of people do it. And since then, I've been trying to figure out, like, okay, what to do. Like, okay, I want to put it out there. Like, I want to, like, use some sort of this platform because everybody is doing it, and then it does also have a lot of reach, right? And the other thing, first, I was not confident that, okay, mera kaun sunega, like, who gives a shit. But then I was like, ठीक है यार, सब लोग कर रहे हैं. It's not about who listens, or like, as you said, like, maybe the response, it's not something that will probably be there all the time. You don't become famous, or like, but then it's about like, what avenue that you have to be able to do it, right? And when um, uh, we've done some work on culture and all, so there was like a more in terms of a lot of cross connections happening in various fields. We're doing some. I keep reading books about temples and all and culture, so wanted to get it out at the same time. Most of my shit posting is about cricket. It's just like I said, like, okay, let just like put it out there in one channel. I don't want to do it like from a professional way where like there is like various channels or like various brands. I said, like, I'll just like create one thing and like have interesting conversations with people. And when I thought about interesting conversations, the first person that came to mind was you, because one of the things that I look at myself is, speaking more than three languages in India is like a bit of a privilege, I would say. And because not just in terms of like how many languages that you can speak and communicate, it's about how many cultures that you can expose yourselves to, right? And it just and I've known you for a while, and you speak
Five,
what,
if you
five
include Tamil,
languages?
it is six. But yeah,
Oh,
but
you speak
40,
Tamil
fifty
as well?
percent I can manage.
40, 50. I say three and four and a half. Include Hyderabadi
Oh,
Hindi
then
as
my
well.
count
So
is seven.
maybe saves for you also. Seven. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so that's because that's something from Indian perspective. um, we have like 50% of India, like in Indian market, is broken up into like Hindi speakers, and less is all
Yep.
like segregate, like it's all defragmented into multiple languages, right? So this is something looking to actually have like more conversations in different languages with people who actually have like their interests in various sectors, various fields, where like the language is sometimes like it kind of
Yeah,
frees you up. Like you talk
correct.
like Hindi mein baat karna hai, Telugu mein baat karna hai, Kannada is it's all there. And from reaching out perspective, I thought that was the whole aspect of how to look at this content creation. Ki yeah, like we just don't have to pigeonhole ourselves into one thing. Cricket ka baat karna hai to cricket hi karo, like something. It just like it can be just like a free flowing thing. So that's and yeah, so I thought like uh, get you in and get some, because you also done some YouTube
Yeah,
channel
and
thing. Kya
here
ho
it
gaya?
takes a
Like
lot
you
of
used to do like
consistency in posting. I see. I started this
yeah.
thing called Screenversity. It was originally wanted to
Mm-hmm. I used to watch that.
talk about lessons from the screen. That was the concept. Okay, what do we learn from these films? Or
Hmm.
it doesn't have to be like a moral lesson or personality development kind of a lesson, but it could be some filmmaking aspects. For example, I did a video on the greatest opening scene of all time, which is like Saving Private Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic, mind-blowing opening scene.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, you can never recreate
Yeah.
that.
What's like? It goes like what,
15,
15
20 minutes,
minutes?
mind-blowing, man. Now, I talked
20
about that.
minutes.
Then
Yeah.
there was this uh, another video I did. I mean, then I started doing listicles, like 5 great movies you must watch and all that. Then,
Mm-hmm.
see, in the end, what happens is if you don't get proper response, you feel discouraged. And then I just
Mm-hmm.
left it. Sometimes I post, sometimes I don't. It's okay. बोल के छोड़ दिया मैं. Then our project started. Then I stopped doing everything
Hmm.
else. Then our web series started. So yeah,
How long did it take to produce the whole web
web
series, and like
series
how many episodes, if you
is,
might
yeah, sure.
spill a little
It
beans?
is 30 minutes each, 25 to 30 minutes each, and there are 6 episodes. So it's like a 3 hour film overall. And we shot the whole thing in
Okay.
1 month, across 1 month. And on working days, we used to shoot from
Hmm.
5:30, 6 o'clock in the evening till 11:30, and on weekends, full day, 8 to 8.
Okay.
Um,
Oh wow. So that's still
Yeah,
you were able
25,
to finish
30.
it in like a
Yeah,
month. That's
we
pretty
had
quick, right?
terrific
Like
planning.
from
Pawan is a very good planner, and he has those production management tools and techniques. He has worked as executive producer on a couple of movies, and then he does corporate videos and all that. So planning wise, he's a very good manager. So if I would have done it, I would be equipped only
Okay.
with the script copy, that's all. And on the set I would say, "Arey, నువ్వు ఇక్కడ పో, నువ్వు ఇక్కడ రా, నువ్వు ఇక్కడ కూర్చో, నువ్వు అక్కడ పో." That will not work. You need planning. You need scene wise, location wise.
Yeah.
So there are people on the set. See,
Shot
we were a
wise
small
and
team. We spent a lot of money on production, but uh,
hmm.
we are rather inexperienced. But if you go to an actual film set, there is a guy for everything. When there is a guy whose job is to do
Hmm.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
also
चाय वाली चाय
everybody
लाने के लिए भी
has their
yeah.
role cut out. For us, it was not like that. And
Yeah.
Pawan, he has lived here for many years. He knew, I mean, how it works here. So that
Mm-hmm.
was one advantage. Everybody was at home. All actors were from either US or Canada. So it was okay.
So the
Everyone
entire
was
unit
from local, yes,
was
local.
like localized from there.
And it is in Telugu.
Yeah, that's probably one way. Okay, that's probably one reason why it can also work because again, so US may it becomes like very difficult to like if you're shooting only on weekends or if majority of your shoot is happening on weekend, people cannot like just like
Yeah.
travel every week
And
from
so
Canada.
geographically, Virginia, you've been here, right? It's located in a such a way that
Mm-hmm.
winters are rather unpredictable. One day it is extremely cold, like minus 15 degrees centigrade, and say
Hmm.
next day it is like 3 degrees centigrade, but with lot of wind. And then other
Sunny.
day it is like 7 degrees centigrade where you can
Uh,
shoot outdoors. So we had to manage that also. We made plan for something, then it suddenly became very windy, and then you have to. We did line recording. We did not. We
hmm.
no dubbing stuff. We did live recording. Yeah. So
Wow.
someone.
Okay. And most of that, the most
No,
of
no.
the shoot was
60,
outside,
70% was
outdoors,
indoors. 70,
indoors. How
75.
much was it?
In the rest of it
Oh, okay.
was outdoors. And then they're holding a mic, and there was a guy for that. There was a guy for taking out shots and all that. So if you're not in that scene, you're part of the crew. So that's how we utilize all the actors. So if a
Ah,
guy
okay.
is not in that
Ah,
scene,
okay.
he will help with the production.
So
Yeah.
you have a role outside the
Yeah. So
scene.
everybody
You
did
have a role. You
everything
still
there.
have a role.
It's like a startup. It was like a startup.
Hmm. That's something. Yeah, I think that's how. I mean, smaller movies with limited budgets.
Yes.
I think that's
Yes. Yes.
bootstrapping, right? Pretty much. Like you.
See, if you have
Otherwise,
unlimited money,
you cannot
make
get
the
it done.
same thing with, you can hire people. And we spoke to a sound guy.
Man, I was listening to this guy.
We spoke to a sound guy. Okay.
Okay.
He said he'll charge for like uh, $580 per day just for holding that mic and recording the
Shit.
sound. He said 580 per day. 580 per day. So if we bringing for 20 days, $10,000 gone. I said, Pawan,
It's probably like
అవన్నీ
50% of your
ఏమొద్దు,
production budget.
మనం చేసుకుందాం. నేను పట్టుకుంటా, వాడు పట్టుకుంటాడు, అందరు పట్టుకుంటారు ఊరికే. ఎవ్రీబడి డిడ్ ఎవ్రీథింగ్.
Yeah, but I think, but that's also because you're shooting in Virginia. It's also a little difficult because you don't have the traditional struggling crew members like you.
Yeah.
Because I lived in New York for a while, and New York is like most of these like
Yeah,
hustlers. They
yeah.
live in New York, like वो sandwich खिलाएगा बोले तो आ जाता हो ना.
See, we
Coffee and sandwich के लिए आ जाते.
auditioned for
So-
that also.
so that's-
Interviewed for people who can help with production.
Hmm.
Then we got some really very dumb people on the calls. So that guy, even after asking a question, is taking 15 seconds to
Okay.
answer. What? ऐसा बोल रहा है अभी. See, filmmaking more than anything is a very exhaustive process, physically exhausting process, and you need a lot of energy. See, for someone like me,
Right.
everyone knows
You
I am a
can't be
little
like
overweight
zoned
and I
out
get
and
very lazy at times. But for me also, that was an eye opener. And since that shoot, uh, my limits have expanded. My limit has it has. I didn't know that I could work for. I used to work
yeah.
9 to 5 every day, and 6 to 11:30 shoot like that. I had like at least 15 days back to back continuous. So I mean,
Wow.
लर्निंग एक्सपीरियंस बोल सकते हो उसको, एंड इट्स लाइक पुशिंग योर लिमिट्स. काम करते करते ही करना यार. यू कांट क्विट योर जॉब एंड से
Yeah.
I'll make a movie. It doesn't work like that. You will die hungry. Yeah.
all
So
artists, who kind of struggle hungry, and
yeah,
probably
there
like
is
5%
a
of them
TV
will
show
make it.
called Penny Dreadful. If you have not watched, please watch it. It's one of the best. One of the best written shows ever.
Oh, okay.
Penny Dreadful,
Okay,
I think
I'll
it's
look.
on Netflix.
Wow.
So in that there is a dialogue. So an explorer is interviewing someone for something, okay, and they meet for the first time, and he gives up.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the best dialogues ever spoken on TV. I'll send you that later. And he gives a very good description of what should be the objective of the human race. What is good? What is new? Then at the end of it, he says, "Oh wow, you have a soul
Mm-hmm.
of a poet." He says that when he answers that, right? He says, "You have a soul of a poet." Then he says, "And I have a bank account to match." That is powerful writing. I mean that show is set in
Yeah,
Victorian England, like
yeah.
1900s, and still that not the stereotype is there. If you're a struggling writer or an artist, you have no money.
Mm-hmm.
Not everyone can become Stephen
Mm-hmm.
King, right? Five
Oh
for
yeah. When I think about that, yeah, I mean, yeah, that guy is like crazy. And it just, but then a lot of, it's also kind of romanticized. But now the I mean, there couldn't be a better time for somebody who is talented, from in the arts,
yes,
to put
so many
themselves out
avenues.
there,
Correct.
because there are so many avenues. The Victorian England probably was like that kind of a time. For me, that stereotype registers from that film, Richard Linklater's. I kind of miss like which one of these, the one that they made in Paris, before sunset, or is it the second
Okay.
one? I forget. But there is a scene in that film where they're walking by the river in Paris, and there's a guy who says like, "Give me $5,
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
write a
yeah.
poem for
Right,
you
right,
right
right,
now."
right. Correct. I remember
Right.
that scene.
So, and then he churns out like that beautiful poem, right on off the fly, and that's something that always registers, because when you think about Paris, most artists, musicians, like they think about that place. It's like LA. It's like, they go there and make it happen, but most of the people end up hustling it on the street. It's like Bombay, it's like, LA, it's Paris. So that's like, that's something that they never show. But right now, as I said, like that's probably, it's probably the best times, because you look at YouTube. I open my YouTube and it's just like crazy what people are doing. It's like people do you guys like live on YouTube? Like how ये
Arey,
इतना कैसे
people
बन रहा
make
है बन
money
जाता
from
है
anything, yeah,
content
these
it.
days. I don't know how, but they just do it.
Yeah, you type anything that's like it's on YouTube, even Indian content creators, like you have to give
And
it
they
to
have
them, like
millions
it's
of
like
views, like vlogging, right? Housewife
having at it.
vlogging and all. You know how the episode starts? She'll put a camera in
Yeah.
front of the mirror. Facing her, and she's looking in the mirror, and she'll say, "Ippudu nenu brush chestunanu," bulke she'll brush. That has 1.2 million views in one day.
Wow. Crazy.
No boundaries
There's
at
no
all.
there's no
Absolutely.
boundaries anymore. There is no boundaries to this is what content is. ऐसा रहना,
कुछ भी
ये
करते रहे. There is a guy
hair ऐसा
called
रहना, makeup
Sapatu
ऐसा
Raman.
रहना. No.
Sapatu Raman. Sapatu is eating in Tamil.
Okay.
That guy, only thing he does is
Mm-hmm.
eats, okay? And he eats huge quantity. Today I am eating 6 biryanis, bolke he'll eat 6 biryanis. They'll put a clock timer and he'll keep eating. So that also is content. He makes like millions of rupees.
Wow. I mean, it's crazy. Like, shuru mein, do you remember that angry
Yes,
grandpa?
yes.
Yeah, those were like the initial novel things on YouTube. But that thing has become mainstream now.
Angry grandpa bole to yaad aayi. You remember MTV ka
People
angry
reacting
grandpa?
to stuff.
That old man, liftman. Angry liftman bolke there was one character. I think Channel V or MTV.
Mm, rings a
Yeah.
bell somewhere. Not really, not really. It's rings a bell
MTV
somewhere,
was good
but
as
I
long as
cannot
it played
recollect.
music. Yeah,
And a little
Cyrus
bit of that
and those
Cyrus,
guys.
Bakshodi.
Nice. It was good.
Yeah, yeah. I saw him. Even he's on Instagram now.
Really?
He's making reels now
Everyone is
on
making reels
Instagram.
here from the top.
Yeah,
Jack Black, right? Jack Black also does
yeah.
dancing TikTok videos.
Holy shit.
And I used
That's
to
what.
think that, see,
वो जब
these girls,
वो
right?
बना रहा
Girls,
है.
especially unmarried younger girls, All they do
Hmm.
is they wear a new dress and come walking from there for 15 seconds. They have 1 million views. You tell me what is the point in that? I mean, जिसको देखना है वो लोग देख रहे, but they
Yeah, I
see
mean, जो देखने वाला है
what is
पैसा
not,
मिल रहा है.
it's not changing anything. It just maybe some people watch it for eye candy, but it's not
It
making an effect anywhere. I believe that a lot of it are they're going overboard.
it is not, but then I also think what. Yeah, but then इसका क्या मतलब? I also wonder, like, in terms of analytics, like बस जैसे like Netflix को content बनाना है, like they go through like so many analytics that people will watch this, people will watch that. Like this is like a, like, fuck you in your face for that, all that data analytics thing, right? कुछ भी बना रहा है and people are watching it.
I
Like it's like that. It's like it goes against the face of like
yeah.
all common sense.
See,
So
Netflix has
like
right.
who
Netflix right
who
now
who
has probably
decides?
the worst content strategy in the world. The worst. Okay, let's not talk about Netflix India because we'll go into another territory. But in general, I'm saying that Netflix is
Holy shit, yeah.
they're not just not making good stuff anymore. They don't want to.
But is that like an industry thing? Is it only Netflix thing? Because in India, even Prime has sucked big time, apart from like a few shows. Is that like more of like how the industry is going? That because like you look at Hollywood as well, right? Like traditional cinema, most of it is like woke dominated. Is that the reason, or Netflix like has screwed up like big
I
time
don't know, man.
somewhere
I have
else?
no idea why they are
Uh,
doing this. It is one of my because see, Netflix used to be good at a time, right? When House of Cards and all those shows were running. Okay, if you remove
oh yeah,
that
yeah.
scandal from Kevin Spacey's life and the fact that he was let go,
Oh yeah,
that show
yeah.
would
That
have
show
been
would
like
have killed
one
it.
of the
That,
top
that
five shows. It is in the same league as Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones, and all
legendary.
that.
Yeah,
So first three, four
Breaking Bad.
seasons,
Yeah,
amazing,
Mad Men.
amazing
Yeah, yeah.
stuff. They did not just simply could not hold their pants.
And it also pushed a lot of boundaries, like breaking the fourth wall, like Kevin Spacey getting into the White House, actually capturing a sitting president at that like level of how you can tell and weave a story around like the current political scenario. I think what West Wing did at some point in time, and this thing kind of pushed that boundaries of what, like, because in West Wing the role of a president is very very low. I've not actually watched the whole series. Probably first season, few episodes. It's too fast to keep up. Um, but like what House of Cards did with the way of storytelling with Kevin
Right,
Spacey, that
right.
powerful character, right? But then that was also initial days, right? That was also like the. I mean, that's where it was pretty much the first show, first TV show ever produced by Netflix. I read in 2015 or 16 because I was studying about mostly OTTs, content creation, and all of that full time. So at that time, Netflix had got some additional funding or kuch to tha unka, like there was some new finances which had kind of injected into the business. At that time, one of the reports said they had 200 TV shows in production, like
Oh,
at one given
wow.
point of time. This is probably 2016. At one point of time, they had 200 TV shows. I still have that like article somewhere pinned. I can pull it up because I tweeted about it. I remember, but they had like they categorically said they had 200 TV shows
Hmm.
being produced or like in the pipeline. I was like, अपना तो हो गया, like अपना life का मतलब, if you're Netflixing and chilling like 200 TV shows, because at that time the quality was really good. So if they're
No,
like
I think they
200 is
scrapped a
like
lot
out
of
of
them. They
the world,
scrap a
like
lot of them.
itna like
Yeah. So as far
probably.
as I know, okay, my with my
Hmm.
limited knowledge, I can tell you that they can scrap at any stage. They can see obviously at the logline stage
Right, yeah,
itself,
they do.
many of the things, they get trashed. Then they read the whole script and then they get trashed. Sometimes they see proof of concepts and some artworks and
Start
then they trash it.
production.
And then uh, sometimes after shooting also they trash. Okay. Yeah, there was a series on
Right,
the which is a
yeah.
prequel to Bahubali, which was made by Netflix in India. It was trashed after it was shot. They
Oh,
saw
really? Was that the
something like
Origins?
that. I had
Bahubali
forgot the name,
Origins or
but
something?
I know who made it. But let's not name anyone.
Was it the
Regular, like Game
animated
of
version
Thrones,
or the real?
real live action. Eh,
Oh, wow. Oh my God. I have not. I think the Origins one was
No,
done
no,
by
not animated.
Prime. It was
Actual
an
story of
animated series.
what was that kingdom's
Hmm.
name? Mahishmati, Origins or something like
Mahishmati.
that.
Mahishmati.
Um, or it had a different title.
Okay.
That whole thing, after making it, after producing, after seeing
Hmm.
the final cut, they trashed it. So they can trash anytime. So I'm
Wow.
wondering, when so much trash keeps
Hmm.
hitting the screen, imagine what the rest of the content would have been, which got like trashed earlier in the. I don't know. Yeah. There are not enough writers
True.
actually.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
don't have enough writers. It's not like HBO. HBO is top of the line stuff. Somebody has to like switch. You know that Akshay
Oh yeah.
Kumar meme, right? Guy from here should go here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that should happen only
What's
then,
like,
because
yeah.
nobody understands TV
I think
content
what's
better
like
than HBO.
Ajnabi ka movie ka. Hmm. Like HBO. Yeah. That's true. That's true. Like whatever they have like produced, like being in India actually वो मालूम नहीं पड़ता कि कौन सा अच्छा है because only the popular ones come over to India, right? And HBO still does a lot of HBO में भी काफी like कचरा निकलता है, but then even if they scrap it, like they it does
Yeah.
have like थोड़ा class तो है उसमें. Like I remember, have you
Young
watched that
Pope.
show Young Pope?
Young Pope. Oh yeah, this guy. The British.
Yeah,
Jude Law. Jude Law. Yes.
yeah,
No, no. I
Jude
think
Law.
I've seen the pilot.
Jude Law.
I
Man,
saw
that
only the
show was
pilot.
nuts. That show was nuts. I saw season one. That show was crazy, and it has brilliant cast as
There's
well.
one more with
I don't
Anthony
know why
Hopkins,
this
right?
happened.
What is
It
that
just
one?
was like for me.
There another Pope.
That's
Two popes.
the
Okay, there
two
are two popes.
popes. The two popes. The movie. That
Oh,
thing
you
won an
agree, right?
Oscar,
Okay.
right? Like for something that it won an Oscar. Like it was pretty
Okay.
like critically well acclaimed movie.
Right.
There
Now
is
I
that
remember. It won
Game
an
of
Oscar.
Thrones
Yes.
guy. That Game of
Correct.
Thrones ka Pope.
So that's how it is
Yeah.
with Netflix. I mean, its content basically sucks ass right now. I don't know when they'll improve.
I read a lot of people who write about Netflix that even Joe Rogan was talking about it. Like most of the complaint about like businesses which kind of have lost their way recently is about like they are like screwing up because they're going woke.
100%.
So and
Hundred
probably a
percent.
lot of that
Hundred
is
percent. That
it
is the reason. The reason
is
they are
is it
going, they are
okay?
fucking up serials one after the other, is because of being woke. Sorry for my language, but it annoys me after having so much money,
Hmm.
because we struggled so much
Oh
with
yeah, I
budgeting
mean,
and funding. We didn't have any money. I mean, we were like bootstrapping and penny pinching. In spite of that, we spent like lot of money. And here there are people screwing up budgets with for no reason at all. Now there is a space show, another life or another planet
just like
something बोल के there is a show.
उड़ा रहे
उसमें
पैसे.
क्या होता मालूम? In space there is a
Hmm.
uh, some trans person. Okay. Now if you think from a holistic
Hmm.
perspective, there is no need for that person to be that. Okay, he could have been a woman, man. Anyone say I have nothing against any gender. You're all free, but they keep hitting
Right.
your face with it, right? That is what is causing people to unsubscribe.
Yeah.
We don't want it to be thrown. Let's see,
Right.
it's like you remember that joke, right? Where in a plane somebody is having an heart attack. So air hostess, she is.
Mhm.
Do you have a doctor? बोलतो no, I'm a
Do you
vegan.
have a
बोलता है क्या?
doctor?
It's like that.
Uh,
You don't
yeah.
have to.
Yeah, I'm a vegan. Yeah.
It's a great show. Just keep it like that.
Yeah. Yeah, you
Now,
don't have to
even
be
in House
in the
of Cards,
face.
there is a scene where
Yeah.
the husband, wife, Kevin Spacey, his wife, and their driver, Meacham, they three sleep together. Is there a need for that scene?
Hmm.
Now you tell me, is there a
Oh
need for
yeah.
that scene? Absolutely no need. The
Yeah. I
writer,
mean,
actually, not the driver. Writer or driver, one of them, those three people. Yeah, the biographer, yes.
writer. It was
There
the
is no need for.
ghostwriter.
So
Yeah.
if you do these kind of
Yeah.
activities, your subscriber base will fall. You will you will never find such a thing
Yeah.
happening at Showtime or at
I
HBO
it's
or at FX. They will not do any such thing.
okay.
Now FX is
Are you sure about that? I mean, because if like once it becomes like the majority of the people who think in that direction, or like who want to get these ideas out, and when you talk about arts college people, like it's more like dominated by
like
liberals and people who are like that woke, and like naturally they are the people who are
no
getting
no
into
no no.
FX or like the Showtime
There is
writers,
a difference. What I'm
because there is no
talking
screening
about is,
process.
if something is required, if it's a story about a trans person, then that person has to be trans, right? You can't have him male or female,
Oh yeah,
right? It has to be a trans person. And I yes,
वो तो
yes,
पहले तो
and
वो
I
भी
would
नहीं होता
recommend
था,
that
but at
you
least
actually
that.
choose a person who is trans for that role, the actor, right? I will go for that. I will
Hmm,
vote for it. But
right, yeah.
unnecessarily out of nowhere, even if the plot does not require, if you put a person like that there, it's the entire quality. Then the quality will decline, not because of existence of that person, but because of your miscasting.
Yeah, it's also, as you said, like it's basically what it does is it takes a detour into that storyline, like jahan pe story सीधा जाना चाहिए. When you're talking about like something that's actually, it becomes, the story becomes about the trans person, or like why it, or like whether it's a gay, it just becomes, because everybody wants to deviate the conversation to that, right? You want to talk about that, not like tell naturally a story that actually could be, it could be about a trans person, but like as long as it comes out naturally, like because I do remember watching a Chilean film which did one foreign film Oscar a couple of years ago. I don't know if you've heard about it.
No, I've not
It's
seen
called
it.
A Fantastic Woman. It's yeah, it's a beautiful film about a trans woman, and about like she gets harassed. It just like the kind of things that she goes through in a single day, or I kind of forget what's the plot of the movie, but it's just like one woman, one trans woman who has to kind of take so much social, and all the kind of things that keep happening to her. And that's like a story where you actually empathize with the character, and like fine, like you're getting to see a film which is about a perspective
Yeah.
that you have not come across.
Yeah,
But
unnecessary
ये
को
तो
बेकार बात में
धनिया की
unnecessarily
तरह
घुसाए
it's
तो
being
काम नहीं
added.
होता है रो. It will ruin your entire ratings.
Yeah,
They मतलब वो
yeah.
उनका, see, that's why people keep saying that it is on their agenda. Now, why do you keep hearing the word agenda when it comes to Netflix?
Hmm.
Because it is like that. People who
Hmm.
commission these shows will tell them to put something like that in it. Part one. Second part is, and
Right.
people
Yeah.
uh, who write those shows, they are also like that. That entire mindset is
Hmm.
completely different. I mean,
Yeah.
you will not find those people in mainstream cinema. Okay, it is only possible on Netflix.
But that's my point, that when you look at what's the stuff that's coming out of Hollywood recently, or like probably since Moonlight time, or like 4 5 years, you see a lot of the preference being given
Yes,
to movies which talk about these subjects.
yes,
Moonlight was about a black gay man, right? The movie is brilliant, but then like you look at like what actually gets appreciated critically. It's like even the mainstream cinema also talks about like giving importance to, it's part of that diversity, DEI thing. But then like when once you're actually being recognized because the movie is talking about these marginalized communities at the topmost level, even if somebody doesn't want to do it, probably will think that अरे ये करे तो मेरे को ऑस्कर में नॉमिनेशन मिल जाएगा. That's probably, like when I look at it, I think like that's the entire industry is probably
yeah,
making people do it,
yeah. The voting
because like probably
committee's
the agenda
members
is
are woke,
also
so
probably
you
at
have to impress them.
at
That's
these.
all.
Huh. Yeah. And pata nahi, like this whole the a few years ago I read an article about what like was it EU or one of the countries, was it probably France, that the they had some filters or regulations on the kind of content they can produce in that country, which is like 40% or some of that content has to be coming out of that country, and which is probably like approved, or like, it's some sort of a regulation that they're doing, so that Netflix doesn't corrupt, like from a cultural point of view,
Correct.
their audience. It's very, like, I'm not actually bringing it up in the right way, phrasing it in the right way, but what it does, that regulation does, is it protects their way of culture and, like, their way of storytelling, and it doesn't allow Netflix to kind of overshadow or like crowd the content pipeline with all that trash, like,
Yeah,
that's coming
see
out
that.
of their systems.
Yeah, that's
And
not
that's
just
actually a very
limited to
good
Europe. You will be
regulation.
surprised. Okay, I wrote a film for a person here who is a former Filmfare Award winner, and I wrote a film for him.
Oh,
No,
wow.
not Telugu. It's
Telugu.
a regional Filmfare, but not Telugu. Okay,
Okay.
so I can't. If I name him, everything will be
Okay.
out. So yeah, I just don't want to name him. Yeah, so Filmfare Award winner.
No
He
taking
met me,
names. Yeah.
liked my writing. He said, "I want you to write a film for me." So we kind of co-wrote, but I typed everything, I wrote everything, and the script was ready finally. 180, not 180, 120, 126 minutes something. And now the time came to originally I wrote the story that is set in Kerala. Okay. But he came back to me after 20 days and said that can
Hmm.
we set that story in Madhya Pradesh instead? I said, why? He said, no, Madhya Pradesh government is giving
Wow.
50% subsidy on all cashback. It's like cashback. They say something. Rebate, sorry. They're, yeah, they are giving me a tax rebate
Rebate or
if I shoot
tax rebate.
50% of the film in Madhya Pradesh.
Hmm.
I said, okay. Then I thought about it. There are some scenes which had to
Wow.
be changed because there is a scene involving elephants. You can't suddenly make elephants appear in Madhya Pradesh, right? I'm
Hmm.
not so sure because I've never been to Madhya Pradesh, but Kerala elephant is a very common
Madhya
sight.
Pradesh.
Okay. And then I said, okay, fine, we can date, but we have to do
Yeah, yeah,
something to
true.
that scene and all
Yeah.
that. We discussed. Then after 15 more days, he came back and said, can we make it Uttar Pradesh? Because they are giving me higher rebate. So this rebate culture is not just, it's prevalent. To promote their state, Madhya Pradesh
Right.
government or UP government, they will
Hmm.
give you a,
Yeah, some sort of, like, because I think, like, even a lot of like all the Kashmir Files kind of nationalistic films, they do get tax discounts, right? Because they did. I think Vivek Agnihotri was like, which is why he was asking Arvind Kejriwal to make it tax free. So this is what they call. They call it tax
yeah,
free,
that's
right?
after
Is
the
film ko
that's
tax free
after
karke,
the
yeah.
release
No,
for
is that a
on the
different
sale
thing?
of the ticket.
Tax.
Okay, so
Okay.
entertainment tax which the producer
Okay.
has to pay,
Okay.
they don't have to pay it. The seller, whoever is selling the tickets,
Hmm.
they don't have to pay it anymore if it's tax free. This is while shooting. You have to shoot. You have to shoot
This
50%
is
of the
okay.
film.
Because they, I think now it makes sense. Yeah, UP is actually trying to attract, since the whole Sushant Singh Rajput thing, like,
Yes,
they're trying to
yes.
attract the film industry to UP,
Yeah,
and
you
they
have
want
to
people to come and set
prove
up
to
the
them beyond reasonable doubt that
yeah, the
50%
industry
of
there.
the film is shot in UP. Then you get those benefits. Yeah, you whatever
Okay.
amount you pay, permission and yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
You can't do like a sound stage, shoot it in UP, and do a sound
Nah,
stage in
nah, no.
UP, and make, like, elephant ko bana diya udhar.
Yeah, but let's see what they're still pitching it to producers. We don't know if it when. Nah, completed long back 2 years
Oh,
ago.
so it's all written and all.
So it is third or fourth film I wrote,
Oh, wow.
none of
Okay.
which have been made so far. But yeah, yeah, we'll see.
Soon enough. Soon enough. Uh,
I
Suddenly
hope
there
so.
will be like a barrage of films that will be coming out with your name, yeah, like the books. Telugu, what's happening? What do you think is happening? Like this whole conflict, like Kartikeya 2
Yeah,
is
so they have
making
a theater
a lot of
problem.
noise,
All theaters
and
have been booked for
suddenly
Lal Singh Chadda,
Telugu films,
and they are not getting enough shows. So I see. I today just
uska to
I have
chaddi
a
nikal
group,
gaya.
WhatsApp group of my friends from my quizzing days and all that. They are all from UP, Bihar, and all that.
Mhm.
So I recommended them. Why don't you go and watch this film? That guy
Right.
lives in Gurgaon now. He says सारे दिन में सिर्फ एक या दो शो है हम लोग कब जाना
Mhm.
करके. And Lal Singh Chaddha has 7 or 8 shows.
No, I just saw Nikhil's not Nikhil, Harsha, right? Vaiva Harsha, follow him on Instagram. So he posted just a while ago, I think in the evening or something. He posted that in Mumbai there were only 2 shows for Friday, which got increased to 20 Saturday. Today,
Bapre.
they are
Wow.
requesting 50 shows for today. Yeah, Lal Singh
Yeah.
Chaddha is like going down. Like they are like putting it out. And Kartikeya too, which is why I was saying it's making a lot of noise, because it's getting picked
Yeah,
up by
that
the theaters a lot, because
and
one, there is
see,
Anupam Kher in it.
very old truth about films. If it is good, it will run. That's all. It will find its audience if the film is good.
Yeah, which is why I was not sure about like this whole boycott Lal Singh Chadda thing. Although I'm like, fine, go for it, man. Like, do like Amir Khan has made a lot of trash, which
Why
actually
not
has
this?
minted a lot of money. So I'm like, okay, yeah. I'm like, why not this? Like, boycott for all you want. So, but then I was like, not sure, because Amir, he's a so-called, like, he does have like some sort of a grip on cinema, whatever, for what it's worth. I thought, like, if he's remaking Forrest Gump, where he kind of fits into the mold of the character, I thought they might have done something good with it. And which is why I was not sure whether this boycott chalega nahi chalega, because looking at all what that was going on Twitter, मुझे तो लग रहा था कि फिल्म पिटने वाली है. But then I thought, like, because Amir is there and like that, he does like pull some strings, emotionally, like people, I thought, like, will finally give in and like end up going and watching it. But then what actually happened on release day was phenomenal, you have to say, like, in terms of like an
It
Amir
will
Khan's
close.
film getting
It
tanked
will close below 30 crores,
because
30
of
or
public
40 max.
outrage. Oh yeah. So it said
Yeah,
Tarana Adarsh
it's going
said
down.
it's collected 20 in the
Pakka,
first
it's
2
going
days.
down. There's no doubt in it. It's not that. See,
Yeah. The
they will
budget
lose
is
money, no
supposedly
doubt. She will
180
die.
crores.
No, there's a famous Brahmanandam dialogue. I think
Who will die?
Dharmarab Subramaniam or Brahmanandam, I think. He says she will die. There is no doubt.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I was
But
listening
Kamal
to
Khan
the
is a
review,
joker.
Kamal Khan's review.
I don't know,
He's like,
man.
itna paisa. That's the reason, because his review, which is why it was making sense, like, because even the Joker could see some sense, कि वो बोल रहा है कि ये क्या बनाया, कि आपका जो वो जो the 5 years का भागने का जो सीन है, ही इज लाइक इतना पैसा खर्चा किया कि एक सीन वो केरला में भाग रहा है, एक राजस्थान में भाग रहा है, एक आसाम में भाग रहा है. सो इट्स लाइक, ही इज लाइक, इमेजिन these people have taken the entire unit of आमिर खान, जो 500 लोग है, 600 लोग है, उधर उसका 2 सेकंड का भागने का शूट के लिए वो लोग मतलब पूरा उधर जाके वो शूट कर रहा है कि वो बस 5 सेकंड का वो शॉट है, right? Like, so that's the craziness of, like, how they've blown up the budget for that film. But yeah, Telugu movies, like, when I speak to a lot of people outside, who are not technically South Indians or like Telugu people, they have a lot of now newfound affinity towards Telugu
Yeah.
film.
Of
Like,
course,
you might have
yes.
been noticing it as
I've
well
seen that. Yes.
online, right? It's Pushpa.
Bahubali.
Yeah, I think this whole thing started, I would
Bahubali
say,
was
with
the first
Arjun
film.
Reddy, kind of.
15.
Bahubali came.
15, yes.
Yeah, it came before. Like the first one came before. It came before Arjun Reddy, right? True. Yeah, I think that's, and also it coincided with the whole Netflix and Prime becoming mainstream in India. I think Prime came in India around 2016. So, like, Arjun Reddy was I remember Arjun Reddy was the first film on Prime in India.
Oh, okay.
Amazon Prime. So, and then that was also one of those, like, movie made for millennials kind of a thing, right? It was pretty much in that age bracket. So I think it's more the access as well, because पहले भी फिल्में थी, all these Chiranjeevi films, or like some of these which made waves in the dubbing industry, or like technically which actually got like remade because they were like popular, like the Anadis and like some of the. So, but then it always like a flash कि एक movie आया hit हो गया, or like ये actor जाके Nagarjuna when goes and like does some Hindi roles. but then access was much bigger problem for people outside the state, or like other, like we've also I'm also watching a lot more Malayalam films, Kannada films, because I have access now. I think that's more to do with I think industry is also cashing it in, with making
Correct.
some sort of like the right kind of content, because now people there is that polarization which is happening now for out of nowhere, and I don't know if it's deliberate. I want your thought on it. A lot of people think that Bollywood is like fully woke and like fully मतलब पूरा brainwash हो गया बाहर की perspectives, and like the South Indian
Yes.
movies are like better because they are more
There
rooted
is
in the culture.
100% merit in what
Do you
they're
think
saying.
there is merit to it?
See, in the last 5 or 10 years, all the hit films were the ones like films like Bareli Ki Barfi or Stree, or those North Belt movies, right? Like which were shot in UP or Bihar or somewhere like the hinterland,
Uh-huh. Right.
Hindi
All the
Hindi belt,
hinterland,
right?
yeah,
Those films
Jhansi,
actually have.
Kanpur, Jhansi.
Tell me, when was the last time you saw a Hindi film which had a villain, an angry hero, 6 songs, and a plot line like the 80s? I mean, or a police officer was a hero without.
Yeah.
Gajni is a remake. I don't.
Probably a
I
Gajini
see
was
there is no.
the last,
I
I
see
would
there is
say.
no
Like Gajini,
merit in remakes at
jo
all.
bhi
I
hai.
don't watch remakes. First of all, only person who should be allowed to
Yeah,
make
yeah.
remakes
I've
is
not seen the
Martin
film.
Scorsese, because there is a chance he will make it better. Otherwise, yeah,
Probably.
whichever,
Yeah.
any which way.
Remakes
But
of his own
remakes,
films.
I think it's bankruptcy of ideas that leads to remakes. So I don't watch remakes at all. But yeah,
Yeah.
let's
I
come back to the
mean, like,
topic.
that's all he's been
Films like
making.
Gehraiyan, okay, two couples go there, and you know what happens? Husband swap or whatever it is. A guy who has
Yeah.
spent
Oh my
a
God, I
guy who
dozed off
spends 40 rupees or
in an
60
hour.
rupees for a ticket in C Center or B Center, why will he like that film? He will fall asleep. Even you will fall asleep. You and
Yeah,
I will also fall
definitely.
asleep.
अरे I fell asleep. I didn't
नहीं
pay for
चलता
it. I
यार वो.
fell
They
asleep.
are
घर पे देख रहा
completely
था
no
Prime
student
पे.
of the
I'm like, what the hell
student
is
of the
this,
year
dude?
example.
The music was good.
Those kids come in Ferrari to school,
Or the
and
वो भी
and
किंग्स कॉलेज
this
लंदन
guy
को स्कूल बना
Tiger
दिया.
Shroff. क्या है रे तुम लोग यहाँ क्या कर रहे हैं असल?
But Student of the Year was a huge hit.
It does
It
not
was
suit.
very popular. The one was very popular. That's what it launched, right? That Siddharth Malhotra and Tiger Shroff
It
उधर
is
से तो
cringe
आए थे.
content,
Oh no,
boss.
Varun Dhawan.
Tell
I
me,
have no idea. I can't recollect.
a person with
Oh yeah,
reasonable
it is
IQ cannot
definitely
sit through
cringe.
it.
आलिया भट्ट का भी तो पहला फिल्म वही था ना.
That
There are a lot of people. So this was also, I think, pre-pandemic. You see, most of the big budget, like Shah Rukh Khan made Dilwale. वो मूवी मतलब देखे तो पागल हो जाते लोग. Like that movie is so horrible. I can barely, like, my mom keeps watching it, or like मेरा एक दोस्त है वो, he keeps watching all this, like वो अक्षय कुमार का जो एकदम जो cringe movie जितने भी आते, he keeps watching it. I'm like, when I go to his home, I'm like, dude, like we are talking and he's like watching the film. अरे ये हो रहा है. Like, dude, how are you watching this? Like, it's not like he's not watching it because, see, there are a lot of people who enjoy watching bad films, like the Gunda wala, like it's like they watch and make fun of it. He's not like that. He's actually enjoying it. So, I mean, that's what I was saying. Ki before pandemic, or like before the OTT, because वो OTT का जो exponentially adaptation हो गया ना वो pandemic पे, because पहले people were still going out, because going out watching a movie was a thing. So which is why people were like still making वो जो Coolie #1. Think about it, like they actually made that movie for theaters. And I'm sure if it would have come out like before pandemic, that movie still would have made like some money. Like, Varun Dhawan had a market. But then that's my point, like, because at that time they were making movies for like a lowest common denominator. They were like stuffing it with like so much bullshit and like hope that like log dekhenge because they don't have another alternative. the adaptation to OTT was not so much. Like था मतलब cities में था, लोग देख रहे थे. It was not that phone पे movie लोग देख रहे हैं without going to a theater. Like गाँव में people were still going and watching films, and Varun Dhawan's and Tiger Shroffs were making that kind of content for them. But now to like like everybody's market is like shattered. Everybody, like you take Varun Dhawan, Tiger Shroff, like Amir Khan, Shah Rukh Khan has not given a hit in the last 10 years. So sabka khatam hai. Like I don't know where Bollywood goes from here, and that's where I see like when people talk about Telugu films, one, definitely they are making good content, but then is it because is it because fully rooted? I'm still not convinced, because a lot of people, like you take Mahesh Babu or like Allu Arjun, yeah, they are all rooted, but you look at people like Vijay Devarkonda. That guy talks out of his ass, like kuch bhi bolta hai wo. Like his whole perspective of cinema is more from that Mumbai का जो perspective है. So I don't know if it's like fully true, but it's nice to see. It's nice to see like the content. I mean, Mahesh Babu has never had so many fans across India than he's had now. Like pehle to like he was like more
Yes,
Namrata
and for
Shirodkar's
that you
husband
have to say thanks
for
to YouTube, because
people in
all
the
his
north,
films are
right?
dubbed in Hindi on YouTube, and they are released, and they have like millions and millions and millions of views. Bellamkonda Srinivas also has a, not what's that guy's
Oh
name?
yeah,
Bellamkonda guy here.
fan
That
following.
no, that's
Yeah,
another
that
Karthik. That's
RX100 guy,
Gummakonda.
right? No,
Karthikeya Gummakonda.
yeah, Gummakonda. Huh. This guy is in. This guy is in
Yeah,
that Nani's film. He's a villain. He plays
Srinivas.
villain,
I
right?
think his
What are
name
you
is
talking
Srinivas.
about?
Bellamkonda
Bellamkonda's.
Srinivas. इसके इतना मीम निकल गए ना. But that guy he is remaking Chhatrapati
Huh.
in Hindi now.
Right.
Chhatrapati, Prabhas's Chhatrapati. So
Wow.
that YouTube Hindi
So he
version
has
of
so
all
many
his films
fans.
are super hits. Okay, on YouTube. Millions of people, like people from Nepal, Bhutan, and all that, they
Wow.
watch his films.
I've seen this like 2016 May I went to like just as a backpacking trip. I went to Assam. I went to Arunachal Pradesh, Meghalaya, Arunachal. So entire northeast, probably skipped like those corner states, Nagaland, Mizoram, Tripura. I skipped, but all the other states I covered except Sikkim. तो उधर जहाँ पे भी बस रुकता था ना, और बस या जो भी सुमो में, सो बिकॉज दे ट्रैवल अ लॉट ऑफ दिस इन टेम्पोस, तो जहाँ पे भी होटल पे रुक रहा है, वन आई एम अमेज्ड दैट दे जस्ट वॉच हिंदी कंटेंट. इट्स नॉट लाइक वहाँ का लोकल कंटेंट है कुछ है, बट इट्स ऑल हिंदी. इट्स लाइक दे वॉच मेन स्ट्रीम कंटेंट. इट्स लाइक अमेजिंग. एंड उसमें वो लोग अल्लू अर्जुन का डब मूवी देख रहे हैं, देशमुद्रू, like all the like
You have to
every
admit
hotel that you
Allu
stop, this is
Arjun
like a
is extremely
small
popular
shanty,
in other
like
states.
out of middle
Yeah,
of
he's
nowhere.
dubbed films on YouTube and all.
Yeah. No, it's just not Allu Arjun. I'm saying like for people, it's about like because the story, like I mean honestly I would say 3 years पहले तक सारी Telugu movies अंत
Yeah,
ఒకటే
same.
ఉంటుంది.
Yeah,
No, the
templatized
storyline
love
was
stories.
pretty much the same. Now I think people have started being टेम्पलेट है. वो हीरो जाता उधर हीरो हीरोइन के घर, which is in some Karnool or like somewhere, and then
And
second
it
half
turns
is all
out this guy is
fights.
the son of
It's just
somebody
like
and all
used to
that.
be the same
Yeah.
thing, right? So but then somebody, and then वहाँ पे
There
जाके
are
they have to
50
cook up some
films like that,
story
at least
with the
50.
heroine's
50.
father or like the brother. Yeah, that's my point. But then it just like replace.
You
So
can't.
everybody you can replace, but not Brahmanandam, right? That's the he's like the core. So वो जितना भी films है, like it used to be different actors. They would watch everything. Like I've seen people like in most of the states, they do not have an affinity. जैसे आप माना देगरा,
No,
like we
fights
have like
all
full
the time.
fan
All the
wars,
time. Yes,
right?
they're on
We
my
have
timeline all the time.
Mahesh
Yes.
Babu fans will not watch. Yeah. Yeah. You have like crazy,
Yeah. They're extremely
people that you
funny.
follow, amazing
Yeah.
people, like who are like
I
I don't know
follow
how
Mahesh Babu
people
fan.
have
I'm a
that
huge
empathy.
Mahesh Babu fan since
Yeah.
last 22 years or whatever.
Oh yeah,
No,
you
there are
should be
bigger
like the
fans than
president
me.
of
But
the
point is,
Mahesh
I
Babu fan
follow a
club.
lot of these guys, and they, your
Oh my god.
Yeah,
all
but
your elevations, I'm sure
yeah, they
they
do
get
get
like
viral.
viral.
Yeah,
They
it's
they
a good
become
feeling.
viral. All your elevations that
But these guys are, some of these guys are extremely funny. Okay, they are hilarious, hilarious people. Timing and that sense and amazing, amazing, amazing people.
yeah, so
Milestone
much
fan.
energy.
I made some good friends in that circle. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So we have the yeah. So we have that kind of it's in silos, right? I'm sure like a lot of people like do watch other films as well, but then that's kind of a thing. कि प्रभास का मूवी वो 10 बार देखेगा, मे बी जूनियर एनटीआर का एक बार देखेगा. So, but then like
Correct.
people who are like for them that there's no affinity. कि अरे we are Prabhas fans or we are like for them it's like that stories
Correct.
are like more rooted. I think that's where it comes from. Like the story, although
Yeah.
the actor themselves probably won't be rooted, but the stories that we're still telling about like a more,
Yeah.
as you said, like वो Ferrari में नहीं जाता वो
करेक्ट. ये
स्कूल
साइकिल पे ही
कॉलेज.
इमोशन है, फेरारी पे कुछ
साइकिल पे
नहीं
ही
है.
जा रहा अपना अभी भी. Right, right. I think that's something they probably figured it out when they were making all that Humpty Sharma ki Dulhania kind of films which were set in Jhansi and Kanpur and all. But abhi to, which is why I think even now like Ayushmann Khurrana is the only person who still gives like
So one of
thoda
my friends
business.
told me one thing
Uh,
about he's a PRO in Telugu film industry. He said that the success rate in films is very low.
mhm.
It's actually comparable to the success rate of
Okay.
uh, chartered accountancy. Okay, thousands and thousands of people pass percentage. Okay,
Like
CA
you mean the
exam pass
exam?
percentage. Hundreds and
Ha, okay.
thousands and lakhs of people sit, but only 1 or 2% pass. Right? It's like that. 800 films get made in Tollywood, it seems, per year.
Hmm.
If I'm not wrong, if the number is higher or lower now, I don't know, but this is from like 4 years ago. He
Wow.
said roughly 800 films get made in Tollywood every year. Some release, some don't release, but they get made. Out of that, you get 4 or 5 hits every year. So what is the percentage?
Okay.
Less than 5%. Yeah, 10% is
Oh yeah.
80.
That's like what?
Five
उतना ही है
percent is
5%.
40. Less than 1%. Yeah, more than less than that.
80. Yeah, less than. It's like 1%.
And good thing is that
Yeah,
all the people who are working in
point
it
0.5 to
get paid
1%.
on
Yeah.
that day. And I mean, nobody is dying hungry except the producer and distributor. So
Hmm.
that's how it is. They make a lot of money, but it's
But
like
when they do make
lottery.
money, they do make a
Some
lot,
great
right?
films don't make money
But
at all.
hmm, yeah, e- yeah, that's true. Like but it's like the Lal Singh Chadha thing, right? It's if you are not, I think every corporation, it's like an organization. Unless you are like prudent about how you spend your money. If you are like अगर पानी की तरह बहा रहे हो पैसा को, so audience are not going to just lap it up just because you spent so much money. For them, what is it's competing with like free stuff on
So,
YouTube and
George
Prime
Carlin,
and
right,
Netflix and
the
all now.
greatest comedian of all time, he once said that if a group
Yeah,
of people are coming
stand
together
up guy.
and they're coming together and they make something to entertain me, that in itself is success. Okay, leaving the commercial part aside, he says that in itself is success.
Right.
He says that
Yeah.
now if you think deeply, there's
Mhm.
there's multiple layers involved. So let's work backwards. Okay, let's say a movie ran for 100 days. I'm talking old terminology. A new day, today's 100 days is 2 weeks,
Mhm.
3 weeks max.
Yeah.
2 weekends or third weekend, great. Okay, that's it. 21
Two
days pakro
weekends, two
max.
weekends or
Okay,
3 weekends. Yeah.
let's say a movie runs 21 days.
Yeah.
Work backwards. That means the movie got made. Then work backwards. That means the budget got approved. Okay. Then that means somebody presented that script well to the
Hmm.
producer and they agreed to make it and they agreed to fund it. Before that, it was only a script. A director came in and said that, boss, this is a good script. I have a vision and I want to make it. If you work that backwards, there is a writer who has just finished the script and who has like, okay, let's go backwards. He is just uh, writing the first draft. He's like on the 11th or 18th page and thinking whether to finish the script or not. Okay. And then before that, there is only a log line in his mind. So a young man with a dash wants to do dash. but is suffering from dash. This is a standard logline template. There's a guy who wants to do something, but there's an obstacle. He only has an idea in his mind, not even written on paper. So you see, there are so many levels to actually seeing that ends. That is why it's like less than lottery. The success rate is less than lottery. The reason is there are multiple creative
Yeah.
stages. People think it's a joke. I mean, I always get offended when people say that uh, the book is better than the film. Obviously, because you are comparing apples and oranges. Film is a different art form. Book writing is a different art form. And you can't
Yeah.
say, who are you to tell? Because I wrote 8 books. Fuck you. I know what I'm talking about. They cannot be compared. If somebody says
Totally.
a book is better than a film, they are saying fried rice is better than biryani, which is wrong. You compare biryani with biryani and fried rice with fried rice. They are different. Yeah, they are different
Yeah.
art
You
forms. Leave
compare
that
like
aside.
Paradise Biryani with Bawarchi
So
Biryani. Yeah.
basically, there is a lot of luck involved here, and there is a lot of dedication involved. See, I have given up stories after writing 50 pages. Okay, I have all the drafts with me. At least there are 16 or 17 stories
Mm-hmm.
I finished. I gave up after 10 or 12 pages because I didn't feel like it. So a story has to go through all these things, and then the script finishes. Then they will go and pitch. Then some director will say, "Okay, I'll make it." Then. इतना बड़ा लंबा लाइन है बॉस वो. That's a huge process. And ये लोग साले 30 rupees का टिकट लेके.
And Aisha films like 800
Yes.
films are still getting made, crossing through all these hurdles, which is still, I mean, yeah, in perspective,
Yeah.
it's
So to complete a film
still
itself
a huge
is a great
achievement. Like,
achievement if you
arts of
ask me,
film,
because
like,
I am
are
talking
actually going through
after
these
being on
hurdles.
both sides of the wall.
Yeah.
Completing the
Yeah.
film itself is a great success if you ask me. It should be
Yeah.
celebrated. Now for the rest you have to pray. Okay. इतना तक किए, ये तुम्हारे हाथ में था. इसके आगे बस रोज भगवान के सामने हाथ जोड़ो कि भैया हमारा फिल्म रिलीज हो, थिएटर्स मिलना, हिट होना, सबको पसंद आना. उतना करने के बाद भी फिल्म्स फ्लॉप, एंड समटाइम्स द फिल्म इज रियली बैड. दैट मींस समथिंग वेंट रॉन्ग. इट्स ओके.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, that's it's a good, beautiful way to look at it. ठीक है. Like, and also people also get hung up on lot of things. I'm also like, if you look at like the way I pick movies on Netflix, there is zero scrutiny that I do. I spend like, for me, the only thumb rule to pick movies,
Okay.
it should be like, it shouldn't take me more than 5 seconds or 10 seconds to select a movie. So I go click, 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 click. I look at the actor, read, pass, read, pass. I don't look it up. Like, this is because, for me, it's about, okay, there is a movie. At the max, मेरा क्या जा रहा, मेरा 2 घंटे
नहीं,
जा
2 घंटे बहुत ज्यादा
right?
टाइम दे
If
दिया.
it's
See,
very
you should do
horrible,
what
I will like junk
script
it in 10
agents do.
minutes.
When you send a script to Hollywood agent, right? They will read only first 15 pages. And because that's the time in which the audience will decide whether the film is a hit or not.
Right.
पहले 15 minute में, if it does not hit you anywhere, drop. I follow
Yeah.
that. I stopped looking at IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes reviews. I play the movie 10-12-15 minute देख के
Oh,
समझ
yeah.
में आता है, बस ये अपना नहीं है बोल के, we should just drop it. But give every movie a chance.
Maybe if I junk it, I junk it within the first 5-6 minutes, because वो character interesting नहीं है, पता नहीं, like, sometimes it's that. But what I was getting at is,
Yeah, you
80
just
to
finish the
90%
film
of the
because you
time, I
started.
don't even like junk it. Like, I junk it like if it's like really horrible. I will, हाँ, मैं देख लेता हूँ पूरा.
नहीं यार,
अरे
वैसा
कुछ
नहीं
तो
करना,
है
क्योंकि
बनाया
our
कुछ,
time
चलो
on earth
मेरा
is
क्या जा रहा है,
limited,
like
right?
2
So you
घंटे जा
should
रहे
jump to the next movie.
ठीक है, like, no, so I sometimes, like, मैं अभी actually when I had gone out of country, I had like horrible jet lag.
Okay, after
Horrible.
coming
मतलब वो
back or
15
while
दिन तक
there,
चल रहा
while you
था.
were
10-12 days it
Okay.
was going on. I don't know how. After coming back.
Yeah, it's worse.
So
Yeah.
usually it said, like, when you travel east, it's like it hits you higher. Yeah. So I don't know what actually happened. Actually क्या हुआ था, 4-5 days it got better, but 6th day or like 5th morning or 6th morning, I had to go meet somebody at the airport. at 4 a.m. in the morning. And uska bus late ho gaya. I met him at 5 a.m. in the morning. So because I had to go at 4, I thought I'll meet him at Toli Chowki at 2:30 or 3. Like I had to hand over some stuff. I thought uska bus aa raha udhar Toli Chowki ke paas. I'll hand over and I'll come back and sleep. He called me saying bus late ho gaya, barish ho rahi hai, ab direct you come to airport. He was supposed to come at 4:30. He came at 5. And like I'm not slept. And this is like the day my jet lag was like the previous day I had slept well. So that day again, like kind of like went for a toss. So and I came back home at 7:30 in the morning. उस दिन पूरा नींद खराब, कुछ भी ऐसा हो गया. So I was not, and then like my schedule again went back to horrible. So I'm like for like 10 days I'm up. Like रात को उठ के क्या करोगे? And like I'm watching continuously. I'm watching films like 3 movies, 4 movies a night. I watch so much movies. I don't even like most of the time when I watch that kind of movie marathons, I don't even remember the name. मेरे को movie खत्म करने के बाद,
कौन सा था
if
ये?
I like the film, I have to look up like, wait, what the fuck was the name of this film? नाम क्या है? 3 and sometimes like I watch 3-4 films and I'm like, dude, like I watched like 3 shitty films, but I watched one which was good. Like कौन सा है? Sometimes I go back into my Netflix history and I was like, okay, this was the good film. Because आजकल नाम भी like very odd, like you know, it's like 2 words, some like random 2 words they mix and like you know something it just like
Yeah.
open sunset or कुछ तो ऐसे रहता, like you know, it's like not memorable, like you know, like the hooking sort of a names. कुछ भी नाम है, so I'm like, you know, watching that. So it's good because what it does is, as I said, like it takes away the bias of that IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes, and it also gives you some sort of a filter that you're creating for yourself, right? Like you know, for me it's that snap decision making, because most of the time वो उधर ही
Yeah.
time चला जाता है, ये देखना वो देखना, so much analysis paralysis that happens. So it kind of gives me that freedom to say, अरे fine, like no, that's the, when you're talking about okay, 800 films are being made, maybe some of these films I do like you know, and I watched a lot of good content. Like बहुत सारी movies है जो which are, and I look at the review and it's like 3 star, really, like 3 out of like 3 out of 10. I'm like, I liked it. Like, and it's like sometimes it screws with your head. Like, you know, is the movie really bad? I'm like, or my taste is so horrible. But it's like it's gone beyond that now. Ki, chalo, as long as I'm enjoying that time watching that, it's good. Like you know, they made the film for me.
No, no,
If I get to
it's not
watch it,
very
so it's
hot,
good.
but
Is
it's
it too
humid
hot
outside.
there? How's the weather?
No, that's because my glasses are
Oh,
getting
okay.
fogged.
You
I
keep
switched off the fan
you've
so
been
that
doing
it
this. I
doesn't
thought like कुछ
interfere
तो
with the audio.
गड़बड़ है या तो. Yeah, actually, I wanted to
No,
ask you at the beginning of
that's
it
fine.
if you
You
could
will know
hear the
in
fan, but
post.
it's too
Just
late now,
denoise it.
anyways.
I keep doing this because my glasses,
Yeah,
because of the brow and all,
yeah,
it gets fogged.
yeah. Actually, this is. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. It's never happened to me.
No, we don't open any
At least
windows
not
at home, right?
when
So
I'm
that's
at
why
home. It happens like the
we
moment I get
don't
out of my
open at
car.
all.
Oh yeah. Okay. Cool. This was. I mean, I was not sure because, as I said, like you know, you've done some stuff talking to the camera. मेरे को तो आई वॉज लाइक नॉट श्योर कि यार 1.5 घंटा 2 घंटा क्या बात करेंगे, और लाइक यू नो इवन 1 घंटा भी क्या बात करेंगे. इट्स लाइक समटाइम्स you kind of are like lost for words. Yeah, there is dead air, like there is some a lot of it has to be sometimes like you know pre-written कि अरे ये इसके ऊपर बात करेंगे उसके ऊपर बात करेंगे. We have not actually, although we've met and all, like we've chit-chatted
I
once in
know.
a while, we've not actually had like a long conversation ever. तो वही ये आई वाज लाइक अरे आई वाज लाइक ड्राइविंग, और वो 7 घंटे का ड्राइव पे मैं सोच रहा था क्या बात करेंगे. आई वाज लाइक सो मच गोइंग ऑन इन माय हेड दैट आई वाज लाइक लेट्स विंग इट, लाइक यू नो मेरे को कोई, एंड आई एम श्योर like we have similar interest on so many things,
I'm
especially
glad
cinema, and
I'm
I
glad
thought I
we
could
made
pick your
this
brain
call
on
possible,
it
and
because I keep
I
hearing
hope
these
you're not
perspectives.
regretting your decision of inviting me first.
Oh no, absolutely not. It's an honor because you have worn so many hats, like your gangster, you know, protagonists wearing those cool hats. But it's that different perspectives, right? Like because
That's additional
the
connect.
एक तो अपन
That's the core
Hyderabad से
connect.
है,
I
तो that's
identify as Hyderabadi. Although I am Maharashtrian and all, but
yeah, and
I
that's like
identify as
core,
Hyderabadi first.
yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I come like
You
I
told
went
me
to
last time,
Hampi,
yeah.
right? That's like my hometown, and so nobody. Yeah, so that's like Hospet is technically the hometown, but then that's like next door. Nobody like although I speak like proper regional local Kannada, like the
Mm-hmm.
the the, the typical accent of like how it's spoken there. But people don't like they are like are
Okay.
because they all speak. One is like in Hampi and Hospet, they all speak Telugu. So they'll be like, and then because they speak Telugu, I speak Telugu because like who will put the effort, right? But then sometimes like when I'm talking Kannada also, they will be like they'll look at my car and they'll be like, "Acha, elinda bandidra, yauru." So it's just like for me, it's like
Yeah.
I do say like Hyderabad, man, like that's home. Like even when I'm in my hometown, I have to say this is home. So that's the thing. And yeah, it's. I'm glad that you
Yeah, and we met the
because we
target
planned it
good.
like last month, and so there were so many things that could have happened in between. We met the target. Yeah, yeah. It's because when I went there, actually the plan was to actually shoot it from there. Joby, like do this from there. But I
Oh,
went
then
there and
that's a
figured out there
problem.
is no broadband in the
Yeah.
place that I was
After
staying.
the talk
And I
is
was
over,
like
you realize
3 days.
40 minutes are just
Yeah,
blank.
3 days. I was like bored also.
If you do it on.
Yeah, on the
नहीं dongle wongle से नहीं
that
होता
guy was like,
नहीं
"Arey, I'll
होगा.
get you
It's
dongle."
not possible.
Like, dude, like I don't see a point of dongle.
नहीं dongle is only
Dongle
for
pay. I
emails.
don't
That's all.
understand
Like
how a
if you want
dongle
to
works. Like even
pressurize,
now, like I have no idea. Yeah, absolutely. Like Merko, like I don't
nothing.
understand.
It's coming
Like
from the
when a
same
mobile
tower.
connection cannot work, like what the fuck will dongle do, right? Like because वो भी तो cellular पे SIM से ही चलता हो, same tower, no? I don't understand. People are like, oh, use dongle. I'm like, no, dude, this is like I have to make this, and then just like came back home today. But then tomorrow is holiday, and then it's actually something I noticed on the way.
Right?
It's the
75 years.
energy
Correct.
this time for 15th August is unbelievable. It's crazy. 75 years and the whole Har Ghar Tiranga thing, it's caught up like anything, like wildfire. Like it's caught up like crazy. Everybody, like I saw like at least like 10 or 12 different school
Yeah.
processions जो करते थे ना, याद है बचपन में जो लाइन से लेके जाते थे बचपन में
See, I
roads पे.
remember 50th
So kids are like
anniversary.
waving
Even that was big.
tricolors like
97 May.
everywhere.
Yeah. Now.
Yeah, 97, 97. That was big. Yeah. It was big. They
Yes.
had
Yes.
like
I remember
special
that.
logo for that. I still
Uh,
remember they had like a
you
pigeon
can't
kind of a
forget
logo
something.
for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then I don't know
I was in
what
10th. 97
grade
August. I was in
school
10th.
you were in. I was in seventh. For me, it's lucky because oh,
Okay.
okay, I passed out school in 2000. So
Uh,
my years of school coincide with the actual date calendar years.
okay.
Like 97, I was in
I
7th,
was
98, 8,
98 batch.
99, 9.
98
Yes,
April. Yeah.
so
10th class. Yes. 98.
yeah, okay, 10. Okay. So yeah, that was like, for me, wo saal, it was because that's the age, like, you are, and we also did something, some stage performance, kuch to kar rahe the, it was big. But this time also, I was glad that I was able to get
Okay.
out for the weekend because I live right next to a school, huge school. And I can't tell you,
I
I'm
see.
so
I
fucking
was
bored of that
bored of
song,
it
Jai Ho.
in that time itself when it was released.
Every bloody year. Yeah, but then these guys, like they, even as on today, they don't have a better song to perform on for like Independence Day. Dude,
Yeah.
I'm like, get up, please somebody make a new
हमारे टाइम
patriotic
पे तो
song or
बस
कुछ भी
गांधी पिक्चर
मतलब
आता था एवरी
कुछ नया
इंडिपेंडेंस
बनाओ.
डे.
I'm like so tired
गांधी
of
बेन
because
किंग्सलीज
the
गांधी.
school is like yeah, Ben Kingsley's Gandhi. Who's that? Yeah, there was one more which was also made later. That Rajat Kapoor
Oh,
one.
okay.
I don't know who made that. that was also thoda popular हुआ था. Yeah. So these guys on like last week से start हो गया था. सुबह शाम, like they are doing that Jai Ho ka dance practice. Every 5 seconds they will
Annoying.
rewind it and play it again. So it'll start. Tin, 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 tin. I'm like, dude, ये क्या है? वो एकदम like it's like
एक दो बार ठीक
50
है यार,
meters from
मतलब
my home. The school. The
बार बार
school.
वही सुनना बोल तो बोर हो जाता है.
It's crazy, but अरे, yeah. But tomorrow is it's I don't know how the energy will be tomorrow, but
Cool.
आज तो बहुत था. I'm sure like कल भी
Okay, thank you.
it's going to be good. Okay, I'll let you go. We Thank you so much for being. This is so. I mean, we didn't do any of that, like intro, any of that, right? So, thank you so much, Deepak. I mean, it's fun. It's actually got a good time to talk to you after ages. Talk about your work, talk about
Yeah,
your
it's called
books and
Nuevo.
movies. Do you have a name for the TV show yet?
Yeah, it will be.
Nuevo. Wow.
I'm just
So
waiting
hope
for the
I
date.
hope it's going to be out soon.
No, not by end of this year. Could be next month.
And by the end of this year,
Yeah, it's very.
before the end of
We are done. Everything is done. Just waiting for the
next month. Wow. So
final.
that's
Yes, that's all.
great.
We'll see when it comes out.
Okay, great. Yeah, so this is the first episode, calling this podcast Samvāda. So, Samvāda, whatever it is. It's hope to use this platform
Sure.
to have more conversations, and maybe we can again connect again to see where this goes. Having a platform helps for everybody, and I don't think there are a lot. Probably there are podcasters out of India, but like in India, technically it's not as caught up yet. Maybe I'm like totally wrong on this. I'm like way
So
off
yes,
probably,
there's a lot of
but
room for growth.
we still
Definitely,
have
I would
like
say
a
that.
lot like new things that can be possible. Yeah, yeah.
All right,
So
thank
hoping
you, and thank
to
you for inviting
put my
me.
foot
Look
in that door
forward to
and
more
see
and more
where
episodes
it
of
takes me.
Samvada. All right.
Thank you so much.
Okay then. Yep. Thank you. Yep. Bye bye.
Thank you, Deepak. Thank you. Good luck
All right.
on
Bye
your
bye. Bye bye. Yeah.
books, TV shows. Have a good Sunday. Rest of your Sunday. Bye bye.